Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com, and we're here today at Gotta Groove Records in Cleveland, and we're here with owner Vince Slusarz. Thanks for taking time today, Vince.
You're welcome.
Congratulations, first of all, on a couple of great years. It's been, what, about 2 years since your first record
Right,
press?
we pressed our first record the very end of August of 2009.
And I understand you're very close to making a profit here.
Is
that right?
That's hopefully a plan.
We're breaking even anyways?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Well, you put a lot in. You've got so much equipment here. I mean,
Right.
This is not a small operation. First of all, you came out of the corporate world.
I guess so, yeah.
Is
you
that
can
right?
say that, yeah.
You were in plastics, were you originally?
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman, yeah. I worked for a company that made water conditioning equipment. Was
Gotcha.
made with plastic injection molding. Was the valve that was made was plastic. So
Yeah.
I was actually the in-house counsel for the company for a number of years, and then operating officer.
So, chief operating officer, but not that different. You thought, well, this is pretty similar to pressing a record, or not?
Well,
really?
I knew a little bit about manufacturing and molding, but this is compression molding, not injection molding.
Oh, okay.
And there certainly is a huge learning curve to making a good record. The equipment is from the 1970s. It's got its own set of challenges, and learning how to make a good record, a quality record, really has been an adventure.
And you said from the 70s, but this is state-of-the-art equipment because they really hadn't been making it
They haven't
since
made
then, right?
presses since then. No.
So-
right. So we've got the newest technology.
You found this stuff in New Jersey, most of
Correct.
it?
Yeah.
And some from here in Cleveland?
Yeah, well, we just bought a semi-automatic press from the old Bodie record pressing plant, Mrs. Bodie, and yeah,
Nice.
we're really excited about that.
Yeah. So you're doing work really for bands and artists from Cleveland, because that's a part of your business.
Sure.
You said about, what, 5% or so
Right,
from,
yeah,
from
I'd
here?
say at any one point in time. It could be as much as 10 perhaps at some, but generally
Yeah.
around 5%, I'd say, yeah.
But really, it's an international business. I
Yeah.
mean, people have sought you out from all over the world.
Yeah, it's been kind of amazing, unexpected, but nice, yeah.
You're talking about where? Australia, you were saying?
Australia, China, we just got our first order from Brazil. We have an order from Ecuador, Canada, not quite as exotic, but foreign country nonetheless, so yeah.
I think it's cool that they're getting something that's made in Cleveland, and it's considered an import and exotic and extra expensive, right?
Well, not extra expensive, but yeah.
They're going to pay a little more for it, though.
Oh, well,
shipping.
for the shipping costs, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, it's interesting. Europe, Asia has a real affinity for vinyl, and they're willing to spend money for it. So.
Yeah, it is. It's considered an audiophile product, and you're doing heavyweight vinyl here too, right? I mean,
well,
the
yeah.
standard LP that we think of from the 70s, 80s was about 120 grams.
120, 130,
right?
yeah.
Pretty floppy, but
Right.
but the ones you're doing now, your standard
It's 140 to 150 grams.
is even heavier than that, and then you're doing the audiophile
the
heavyweight
180 gram records, right?
180
which
gram?
tend to run a little heavier too on our press. Yeah.
and a little heavier, so you're getting what, 190, 200?
190.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do anything heavier than that?
No,
That's
we
the
do not.
heaviest.
That's the heavy. And there is a plant I'm aware of that does 200, 210 gram vinyl.
Right.
Every time you have that kind of difference, it's got its own set of challenges as well with the press. So.
I'm sure. You've got different settings and different type of vinyl and everything.
Well, same kind of vinyl,
It
but
is.
you've got a deeper mold that you're working with, and the settings, and yeah, trying to make a good super heavy record is even more difficult.
So straighten me out on this. The sound, vinyl versus CD. Vinyl is much better, in my opinion.
Well, you're
Am
right,
I?
obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a subjective thing. I mean, I'm not of the mind to say vinyl is definitely better. Everybody's got their own ears and their own opinions about that sort of thing. And
Right.
I think vinyl sounds better personally because it's an analog, generally wave sound. Generally, often we're not getting tapes anymore, analog tapes that we're working from, but they are higher resolution, higher bit files, 24-bit files versus 16-bit, which is commercial CDs are typically 16-bit files, not as compressed, so you're getting the nuances on both ends of the sound wave.
Right. So you're getting a better starting point, and then what you're pressing then, it seems to have a warmer feel, vinyl. It just seems to, the low end, the bass seems to really fill out.
Right, and there's a lot of folks who think there's real, ear fatigue from listening to digital music,
right,
particularly for a long period of time, very loud. Yeah.
So this is sort of coming back. I want to say, I've noticed it in some of the stores, those that still remain.
Yeah.
Although they're selling the vinyl now in the weirdest places,
right.
for
Hot Topic or
these interesting shops that. What's the attraction? Do you think it's just that it's different, that it's cool, that it's cutting edge, or are they really audiophiles?
I don't know. What do you guys think? Why do you guys buy vinyl records?
Why vinyl?
They look cool.
They do look cool.
It's it's just a better sound quality overall. That's the main thing, and it's nice having. I just like having the physical artifact of it. The artwork, the whole package deal.
The artwork's better.
Absolutely.
The physical feel of it.
Something really romantic about setting down the record, putting the needle on it.
I think it's kind of meditative in a way. You have to listen to a record. You can't,
you can't put it on shuffle
and go about your business. Right, yeah. So
you're really listening for a good 23 minutes or so per side.
Right.
22
whatever it is. And so I think that's part of it. It's a way to disengage from this high-tech world where you're, constant text messages and instant response required sort of things. So I think that's part of it. The other part is, the physical products. People always will want something physical. I think there's a segment of the population that will at least. And before the attraction of 8-tracks, cassettes, CDs was portability. Well, now MP3s take the place of that portability. So then it's like, okay, if I want something physical, this is a preferred format for a lot of people. A lot of the records we sell have download codes in them. So you buy the record, you get a download code, so you get to download the music at the same time.
So you don't have to go buy it again, basically. You're buying it once, you're getting the vinyl, and then you're also getting a download. And that's usually a pretty high bit rate as well. It's usually a pretty good quality.
Right, yeah.
Why'd you get back into manufacturing? It seems like you left the field, and obviously manufacturing is going through some real transitions right now, and you jumped right back into it.
Well, I left. I didn't necessarily leave of my own volition because we sold the company, and the COO position was eliminated by the new owners. But I had a desire to stay in manufacturing just because I'm bullish about manufacturing.
Are you?
I think it's important for any community to have a manufacturing base. That manufacturing jobs typically are more stable and better paying than retail jobs, and I just felt that that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it in Cleveland.
And why Cleveland then? I mean, you just wanted to stay here yourself?
Well, I was born in Cleveland, even though I grew up on the Far East Side. I wanted to do it in the city because I think it's important that the region's only as strong as the central city. And to me, and I've always felt that way, so I said, well, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to put this in Cleveland.
So, and you found what you needed here. You found you had to import some equipment, but you got a good space here, and it's affordable.
Yeah, it's a neat place to be. There's a lot of eclectic tenants here in Tyler Village. And
it looks like there's a lot of manual touching of the product that has to go on here. I mean, what are we doing here behind us? They're actually inserting...
packaging a Christmas record from made in Aurora.
Made in Aurora.
Nice. Not Aurora, Ohio.
No,
I think this is near Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, where this label's out of.
But you can't. I mean, it seems like you can't save a lot of money. You've got to go through this one-by-one process of.
Well, I mean, I suppose you don't necessarily have. I mean, from a packaging standpoint, there's only so much you can do, and I suppose there's automated equipment that at some point we might want to consider. But I think it's important because we, from the get-go, wanted to stake our niche as a very high-quality plant, and so to look at every record, even a couple of times, for us is worth it because we know what it's like as customers of vinyl to bring a record home and be excited about it, and you put it on and you're excited. And if it has a bunch of, it doesn't sound that great, you get upset about that. So
you do have a couple of listening rooms here where they take literally every piece of vinyl that comes off and it goes through the room, and you're sampling, not every single one, but you're sampling a good number of them by ear and by look, and then it gets looked at again.
Yes, exactly.
So you're catching a lot. If you have to redo it, what happens? I mean, do you have to go back and sometimes repress a run?
Not often. I mean, because we're keeping track of our scrap as we go along, And we know what number the customer is asking for. We always go a little over that just in case there's scrap in packaging. But because we're doing that on an ongoing basis, we're really not having to go back and repress later.
What is your capacity here, speaking of numbers? How many are you able to?
We're averaging somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 records a week, depending on the week. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And do we know how many are being sold out there? I mean, there's some controversy about how we track CDs versus records.
Right. Well, I'm convinced that the overall market for vinyl is at least 15 to 20 million records a year, which is the Record Industry Association of America figures will show something like 4 million this year.
Is that right?
Yeah. URP, who's the biggest plant in the States, out of Nashville, they just had something on some news piece. But anyways, they're saying they're doing 30,000 records a day right now. If you extrapolate that out through the year, that's over 7 million records just through one plant. So
the numbers are off, in other words.
The numbers are off. I mean, they don't capture all of those because a lot of, and I know people will say, well, how many of them really are there, how many bands are selling them out of the trunk of their car? Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of them doing that.
A lot,
yeah. I mean,
because the record industry has really changed, and a lot of bands are now taking over. It's a DIY aesthetic, and they are selling, whether it was CDs off the stage, and they're doing their own tours, and that's how they move a lot of product.
Right, and the younger bands in particular, because the younger audience is no longer buying CDs, they have to have vinyl at their merch table if they want to sell their product. Yeah.
We've got Black Friday coming up, Record Store Day here, and it's a good time to go out and check out some vinyl, I think. Thanks for taking time, Vince, for talking with us.
Great, thank you.
Great meeting with you. Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in Cool Cleveland.